to my channel. It's your girl Lyssy, and today guys we're going to be talking about the wonderful world and or the downfall of Toys R Us. So as a kid, Toys R Us was one of my all-time favorite places in the entire world. Like, how could it not be? Basically, if you guys have never been to a Toys R Us, let me catch you guys up as to what it is and how it kind of had its very dark downfall and it kind of fell apart over the years. Toys R Us was one of America's largest toy store chains, and the company was founded in 1957. Its first store was built in April of 1948, and these stores carried a very wide range of children's toys such as bikes, dolls, Barbies, video games, plushies. Pretty much any popular toy at the time was inside of a Toys R Us. Like, they carried literally everything and anything. Arts and crafts, I think clothing as well, outdoor necessities like water stuff for playing in the pool. They had everything at Toys R Us's. It was basically like a toy store heaven. Like a little kid in the candy store, I got so darn excited to go get a toy from Toys R Us. It was just amazing. Also, the outside of the building of Toys R Us's were always so colorful and bright with the big toony logo. Like, as a kid, I was automatically drawn to the logo, kind of like people are drawn to a McDonald's logo. Same sort of concept, the colors on that logo just made you want to go in the store. But sadly, these stores were absolutely amazing. However, they closed from bankruptcy in 2017 and 2018, and pretty much all their locations completely closed their doors and shut down forever, making a lot of people lose their jobs because there was thousands of Toys R Us employees across the whole nation that lost their job when this happened. They closed all locations in the US, the British lands, Australian locations, and pretty much everywhere else at the time. This broke my heart and so many other kids' hearts as well, because this place was so nostalgic to so many of us while we were growing up. It was like a key memory of our childhood. This place just had a certain feeling that it's kind of hard to explain. It was just so extremely nostalgic. And another thing I want to mention before I get into the dark, scary stuff was there was this big giraffe mascot called Jeffrey the Giraffe that kind of represented Toys R Us. Formerly known as Dr. Giraffe, Jeffrey the Giraffe made his public debut in the 1950s in print advertisements for children's. This giraffe was famous for saying the slogan of Toys R Us. This was a quote that paved his way for the future of the company. And in the 1960s, when the children's bearing town became Toys R Us, Dr. Giraffe was renamed Jeffrey and was crowned the official Toys R Us spokes animal. Jeffrey the Giraffe has been a beloved member of the Toys R Us family ever since. In the early 70s, Jeffrey introduced his family to the world. His wife Gigi, daughter Baby G, and son Junior. They rode in their family car, the Jeffrey Mobile, a double-decker bus filled by potato chips for some reason. That was kind of spontaneous and quirky. So he had a whole family of giraffes with him. During this era, Jeffrey also received a makeover with rounder eyes and spots, smaller than the past spots, and a tuft of hair added on his head. This version of Jeffrey would become the template for all other illustrated versions of Jeffrey the Giraffe to come forward in the future. And now to this day, only few locations of Toys R Us exist in the entire world. One of these locations actually just recently opened a few years ago after they all closed down in the USA's biggest mall, American Dream Mall. I actually found a TikTok, which I'm going to put here on the screen, of it opening up, and Jeffrey the Giraffe is so excited. So that's actually cool to see. They finally opened one since they all went out of business. I also believe there is another location that was opened in Canada or never closed for some reason. So those are actual rarities. And not only that, recently, this is actually where I had the idea for this video. I went into Macy's and I saw that they're opening tiny Toys R Us's in almost all of the Macy's across the USA this exact December for some reason. Like, they're opening this December for Christmas. So that is so cool to see. Jeffrey the Giraffe is making his comeback. However, I saw something kind of horrifying before I get to the scariest part of the story, was that Toys R Us has a TikTok and it's really unsettling. Some of the stuff I've seen on there is actually horrifying. So I found the Toys R Us TikTok account, and it's basically an account full of just a bunch of weird videos of Jeffrey the Giraffe, whether he's dancing and singing a song or teaching us how to dance, which I find to be a really weird marketing scheme, or showing off toys that they have in their current open locations. Basically, this account is just really weird. I don't know who's running it. I don't know who's under the giraffe suit, but I kind of want to know, because if you look at some of the TikToks, which I'm going to put here, it's just unsettling. Like, how do you not find that unsettling at all? Like, I'm gonna have nightmares of that exact TikTok. So the main really concerning part of this whole story actually revolves around a Toys R Us that was built atop of a cursed, haunted land and had a bunch of hauntings, according to the internet, connected to this place. I think I've covered this in a past video, but it's so fascinating to me, I want to cover it again because it's just horrifying and unsettling. So this Toys R Us was located in Sunnyvale, California and has closed ever since. I believe since then it's been turned into either a pet store and then even a Walmart and even a sporting store because of all the hauntings. Accordingly to the internet, they claim that the stores became so haunted, whatever was built atop that land that the Toys R Us was on, people did not want to keep their store open and things were going wrong like left and right. The store was originally built in the 1970s as part of Toys R Us expansion to California. Almost immediately, as soon as this Toys R Us was built on top of this land, employees reported strange happenings. Toys would fly off shelves, people felt phantom touches, and faucets turned on and off all by themselves with nobody in the room. It became legendary among paranormal investigators in the late 70s when it played a host to several seances by psychics. One of these seances was shown on a popular program, That's Incredible. In the episode, which features a number of delightfully terrible reenactments, Brown tells the story of a so-called Toys R Us ghost. According to Brown, she was able to make a contact with the ghost, a laborer on the farm that once stood on the spot of the new store, which the store was built on top of the farmland. As he walked down the hall towards me, he kept saying, "Have mercy on me, Beth," Brown related. She initiated the ghost's name Johnny Johnson, which was creepy because the farmer who actually was on the land before was Johnny Johnson. Johnson, a traveling preacher from Sweden, sometimes worked on the Murphy farm in exchange for room and board. While working there in the 1880s, he fell in love with Murphy's daughter Elizabeth, but his love was unconditional. Elizabeth ran away with the lawyer from the East Coast, leaving Johnny brokenhearted over her completely. One day while chopping wood, Johnny's axe slipped, gouging him deep in the leg. He slowly bled to death, and his unsettled ghost has roamed the property of the land ever since, which of course where the Toys R Us was built on top. Even scarier than all that was there are videos out there documenting the hauntings of this literally alleged haunted Toys R Us. Like there's actual video footage, which I'm gonna put some of it here on the screen for you guys.
Or reportedly had lost 6 managers, so out of desperation they called me and said, "Would you please come in because we think we have a ghost." It's a story of unrequited love, and not like some of the violence we see at other, let's say, ghost stories. It's sad, it's tragic.
So yeah, this place has made history for paranormal investigators, other YouTubers. I think big YouTubers have actually investigated the place since it's turned into other stores to see how haunted and cursed it really is after the documentary came out about it being haunted. And a lot of people who worked there were just completely traumatized. I think a few workers from the Toys R Us said that they had seen a figure of a face and a man walking amongst the store. Obviously the toys were thrown off the shelves by themselves, which really creeped out some of the toy store employees at the time. And then after that, when it became a pet store, allegedly, people saw dog toys being thrown off the shelf and just crazy creepy stuff. So that's the story of a very, very cursed Toys R Us. And honestly, it's weird but kind of fascinating. Like I feel like I would spend the night in a haunted toy store. Comment down below, would you guys spend the night in a haunted Toys R Us, or would you guys want to be an employee working in a haunted toy store? Let me know in the comments. Anyways guys, that's some of the tea about Toys R Us and how Jeffrey the Giraffe has kind of had a glow up over time, how they've started a TikTok, and how they are finally making their comeback after they went into debt and closed all their stores, which is kind of incredible to see they're making a comeback. But let me know in the comments down below, have you guys ever been to a Toys R Us? If so, do you guys like it? Yes, no? Hopefully you do. Anyways guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been Lyssy, and I'll see all of you lovely people in the next video. Bye guys!